The sun had barely risen over the sleepy Normandy town of Saint-Étienne-du-Rouvray on July 26, 2016. Inside the modest stone church of Saint-Étienne, an 85-year-old priest, frail yet resolute, prepared to celebrate the Eucharist. The congregation was small: 3 nuns, an elderly married couple, and a parishioner. As Father Jacques Hamel raised the chalice, the creak of the church door shattered the silence. 2 men burst in, brandishing knives and shouting pledges to the Islamic State. What followed was a scene of horror that would shock the world and spark an extraordinary legacy of martyrdom, reconciliation, and hope. By the time police stormed the church, Father Hamel lay lifeless at the altar, his throat slit. But his final words, "Va-t'en, Satan, go away, Satan," echoed far beyond those blood-stained walls. This is not just the story of a murder. It is the story of a man whose life and death became a beacon of light in an age of darkness, a testament to the power of forgiveness and a challenge to a fractured world. Jacques Hamel was born on November 30th, 1930, in Darnétal, a working-class suburb of Rouen, France. Raised in poverty after his parents' divorce, young Jacques found solace in the rituals of the Catholic Church. By age 7, he was staging makeshift masses in his garden shed, using a biscuit tin as a chalice and a bedsheet as a vestment. His piety was matched by a quiet determination. He joined the choir at St. Paul's Church in Rouen at 6 and entered the minor seminary at 14, undeterred by his frail health. Ordained in 1958, Hamel's ministry spanned 6 decades, marked by humility and an unwavering commitment to his flock. He served in industrial towns like Le Petit-Quevely and Saint-Pierre-les-Elbeuf, where he baptized generations, comforted the sick, and mediated between feuding families. Even after retiring at 75, he continued as an assistant priest, rising daily at 7 a.m. to recite prayers and buy bread for breakfast before the Eucharist. Parishioners described him as discreet, gentle, and always available, a man who did his job to the very end. Yet Hamel's faith was not insular. In 2015, he co-founded an interfaith committee with Mohammed Karabila, a local imam, to bridge divides between Christians and Muslims. He gave his life for others, Karabila later said, mourning a friend who practiced dialogue even in death. The morning of July 26th began like any other. Hamel had just finished breakfast and walked to the church, where he began the liturgy. At 9:43 a.m., Adel Kermish and Abdelmalik Petitjean, 2 19-year-olds radicalized online, stormed the sanctuary. They forced the priest to his knees, slit his throat, and filmed the act while shouting Quranic verses. Witnesses recounted chilling details: Hamel's defiance, "Go away, Satan." The attackers' surreal debate with a nun about Jesus' divinity, and their final moments, shot dead by police as they fled. But the horror was tempered by acts of courage. Sister Helene Decaux, one of the hostages, later recalled her calm reply when asked if she feared death: "No, because I believe in God." The attack stunned France, already reeling from the Nice truck massacre weeks earlier. President François Hollande called it a cowardly assassination, while Pope Francis decried absurd violence. Yet amid the outrage, a quieter narrative emerged. Hamel's death was not just a crime but a martyrdom. Within hours of the attack, the hashtag Santo Subito, meaning Saint Now, trended globally. Pope Francis waived the 5-year waiting period for Hamel's canonization, declaring him a martyr who accepted his death next to the martyrdom of Christ. By 2017, the Diocese of Rouen had opened his beatification cause, citing evidence that he died in odium fidei, in hatred of the faith. Miracles soon followed. A paralyzed woman claimed healing after touching Hamel's grave, while pilgrims flocked to Saint Etienne, leaving roses, his favorite flower, at a makeshift shrine. For the Church, Hamel symbolized a modern martyr in an era of religious violence. "The blood of martyrs sows the seeds of faith," wrote America magazine, likening him to early Christian martyrs. But Hamel's legacy transcends Catholicism. Muslim leaders condemned the attack, and interfaith vigils drew thousands. A Muslim artist, Omar Mubin, painted a portrait of Hamel that went viral, symbolizing shared grief. Perhaps the most astonishing chapter of the story is the friendship between Hamel's sister, Rosaline, and Algia Kermish, the mother of one attacker. Rosaline, 84, initially retreated into a bubble of pain, but later felt compelled to meet Algia, guided by a haunting thought: how much more I would suffer if I were their mother. Archbishop Dominique Lebrun accompanied Rosaline to Algia's home, where the two women embraced and wept. Algia shared her anguish. Her son, once a sensitive boy drawn to humanitarian work, had been groomed online by extremists. Despite her pleas to authorities, he spiraled into radicalization. Their bond deepened over years. They visited each other's homes, prayed at their sons' graves, and co-authored a book titled My Sister in Pain. We are both victims of terrorism, Rosaline explained. We want to express mutual friendship and compassion. Jacques Hamel's death became a catalyst for global reflection. His interfaith work inspired the Jacques Hamel Prize, awarded annually for peace journalism. The attack also spurred France to confront extremism, closing radical mosques and funding moderate Islamic institutions. But his greatest impact lies in ordinary acts of courage. Parishioners still gather at Saint Etienne, now a pilgrimage site, where bullet holes in the walls serve as stark reminders. He was a simple man who loved his daily life, said Father Paul Vigorix, postulator of his sainthood cause. That's why he resonates. In a polarized world, Hamel's story challenges us. Can we see the humanity in our enemies? Can suffering birth reconciliation? His sister's answer is unequivocal. Let us learn to live together. Let us be workers of peace. As of 2025, Jacques Hamel's canonization remains pending, but his spiritual influence is undeniable. Pope Francis keeps a photo of him in the Vatican, while pilgrims worldwide invoke his intercession. Yet his true legacy is not in titles or miracles, but in the quiet power of a life lived with purpose, and a death that refused to let hatred have the final word. In the words of Sister Daniele Delafosse, who survived the attack, the devil entered those young men's hearts, but Father Hamel's blood planted seeds of love. For a world weary of violence, those seeds may yet bloom. The martyrdom of Father Jacques Hamel is not merely a historical event. It carries a deeper spiritual meaning that continues to challenge and inspire people around the world. His story is a testament to the power of faith in the face of persecution, a reminder that even in death, the gospel triumphs. For many Christians, Father Hamel's sacrifice echoes the words of Jesus in John 15 verse 13. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. He did not die seeking attention or recognition. He died simply doing what he had done for nearly 6 decades, offering Mass, praying for his flock, and serving his God. His death calls believers to reflect on their own faith. Are we willing to stand firm, even when faced with trials? His life also serves as a powerful example of humility and perseverance. In a world that often celebrates power and status, Father Hamel showed that true greatness lies in quiet service. He never sought wealth, comfort, or recognition, yet his death shook nations. This reminds us that even the simplest acts of faithfulness can leave an eternal impact. Beyond the Christian community, his story resonates as a symbol of peace and reconciliation. Despite being killed by extremists, Father Hamel never harbored hatred for any group. His commitment to interfaith dialogue and coexistence stands as a challenge to a world often divided by fear and prejudice. His legacy urges us to build bridges instead of walls, to seek understanding rather than conflict. As time passes, the memory of Father Hamel continues to inspire new generations. His cause for beatification moves forward, and many already regard him as a modern-day saint. Regardless of official titles, his witness of faith, courage, and love stands as an enduring testimony to the power of the gospel. His death was not in vain. It was a seed planted in the hearts of believers, a call to remain steadfast, to love without fear, and to serve with humility. Whether in churches, homes, or workplaces, the spirit of Father Hamel lives on in every act of faithfulness. In the face of darkness, his life reminds us of one eternal truth. Light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it.